Got Your Back Pod Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at MrDirk.com.
That's it. That's all she wrote. The deadline is done. Ladies and gentlemen, your Edmonton Oilers roster. How are you feeling about it? Definitely made some upgrades, but was it enough? Did you want to see more? How are you feeling? That is going to be the topic of today's show. Jason Strudwick is here. Rob Brown is here. And Steve Taylor's at the controls. Looking forward to a great show. As always, brought to you by Play Alberta, the official gaming partner of all the major Alberta teams. Whoever you cheer for, Play Alberta's cheering you on. Bet on your favorites. Get in on odds, boosts, and make game time more interesting. Deposit today. Get a $50 free bet with code GYB03. That's code GYB03 at playalberta.ca. Coming at you from the Adrenaline Diesel Home Studio. If you need a part manufactured, replicated, or repaired, Adrenaline Diesel has you covered with their brand new machine shop. Visit adrenalinediesel.ca. We got the whole crew on board, ready to rock and roll. The Oilers did the humane thing today, gentlemen. They gave their team the day off. So nobody down at the rink, everybody got to chill out and relax and do whatever players do on deadline days. Struddy, what did you do on deadline days? Were there many days where you felt certain you were going to get the call? Did they have cell phones back then?
Yeah, towards the end, yeah. Did I ever think I was getting the call to get traded? One time Steve told me I was getting traded when we were flying from Edmonton to Chicago. He's like, I hope you packed a lot of stuff getting traded. I'm like, what?
Still
Are
funny.
you kidding me?
Still funny.
And I think everyone else got traded except for me. So maybe they couldn't find a partner.
Really?
Sorry, buddy.
That's interesting. What about you, Brownie?
Most of my career was played before computers, before cell phones. No, really. I was traded in December once. And I was traded in January once. But the trade deadline, it was an anxious time, but it's a much bigger deal now, where you can follow everything minute to minute, second to second. When I played in the States too, so there was really no one really cared. So you didn't have, a TSN to watch all day long to see what's going on. So it was completely different. But there always is anxiety about who's going to get traded, or if someone comes to your team and all of a sudden your spot is taken because they added something that is a little bit better than you, and all of a sudden you fall down the depth chart.
Mm-hmm. Only ever experienced one trade deadline as a junior hockey player, and there was this extreme comfort knowing you were literally worth nothing. Like, just absolutely not worth a thing. So it was pretty stress-free for me. So I can't imagine what it would have been like for you guys. But listen, there was so much activity out there today, and I can only imagine how Oiler fan is feeling here tonight, watching all these moves happen all over the place. Just to set up the pod tonight, we're going to break down what the Oilers did. We're going to talk all things Stan Bowman and his strategy. He had a half-hour media availability with us finally today. I've been chasing him around all week, trying to nail him down for an interview, but understandably he was laying low. So we got lots of sound from Stan Bowman today. We're going to ask lots of questions and challenge, but we're also going to give him an opportunity to respond, and a lot of those responses came in the press conference today. Also going to take a look around at what else happened in the NHL today, some of the other big trades that happened, teams that impressed us. We will have brownie points in Strudy's world. I think we're going to try and settle this chip debate, Ripple versus Plain, the fact that they're the same thing and everybody knows it. Some are in denial. So we'll have a quick little conversation, and it'll be a clean sweep on that front. That's coming up a little bit later on in the show. So we are jacked, we are loaded, we are ready to rock and roll. Let's get to our breakdown, brought to you by the Alberta Ram dealers. The 2025 Ram 1500 is Motor Trend's Truck of the Year. Visit your Alberta Ram dealer to get into this award-winning truck at a competitive price. Capable, stylish, powerful Ram. We are going to involve lots of comments off the stream today because we how the fan is feeling about the day today. Struds, no additional moves after yesterday. What do you think about the deadline here that Stan Bowman has had? Is there a word you would use to describe it?
How can I say it? It wasn't disappointing, but I think there was one more bridge to cross. I think they could have got one more. And I was looking at top line forward. So they didn't get it done. And here we are.
Brownie, you?
I would say expected, but underwhelming. I think we knew that there wasn't going to be a goalie move. I think we knew that there was going to be cap constraints and actually, in all honesty, a lack of assets for the Oilers. So I think that's the expected part. We thought they'd fix something on defense and they would find depth players up front. I think the underwhelming is the hope. And to me, and I've said it all year long, my first go-get would have been a top six forward, someone to play with Leon Draisaitl. And you look around the National Hockey League, and I know that you're going to get into it with the players that moved. There were some pretty good hockey players that are top six players that went to other teams, and you're looking, well, the Oilers, they could have given up that. Well, we got a second rounder, or we could have done that. So I think that's where the fans are going to be a little underwhelmed with what happened today and the lack of anything happening today for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, so I would say that it was fine. Like, wasn't great, wasn't terrible. I think that they're a better team, and I think they addressed two of their more significant needs. But I'm with you, Struds. Like, the fact that it's status quo on Leon Draisaitl's wing for the most part, we'll see if Trent Frederick can potentially spend some time there. I think it would have been much more ideal had they found a way to add meaningfully up front. And I think they tried today. I'm going to get to the Weiss Johnson soundbox here. So the idea that no movement clauses got in the way of Stan Bowman being able to make any moves. He really did not make it sound like that was the case.
I don't know if that was as much of a factor as just our overall team performance wasn't that strong. So I think sometimes more gets made of that than is needed as far as their trade protections. That wasn't a huge factor this week for us.
Okay, so that wasn't a huge factor this week for us. So then how aggressive were you trying to be? And it was a question that I asked Bowman today. Look, they're in a window here, right? They're in a window with some real good players. So what was his tact? Saving for the future versus spending right now. And again, some longer clips here, but I think we need to let him have his say here in the Weiss Johnson soundbox.
There are those who would say, you're in this window. You have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl on their, their previous deals here, that you got to be all in every year while you have these guys. What would you say to those who would, ask that question? Did you push enough chips in considering the window you have with these guys? And what's your philosophy about that versus keeping something in the cupboards for the future?
Yeah, I think we're all in to try to win right now. I mean, that's been our focus for sure. Just we don't have many draft picks this year. We got a couple, which is, it's tough on the amateur scouts, but I understand that that's the price of being a team that's trying to add to their group. So there was no hesitation to trade first round picks or prospects. That wasn't you're not just going to carelessly trade them away. But I think that was a big part of the reason we got Wallman was we stepped up and gave him a first rounder. And I don't know if they had that from other teams, but I think that's what ultimately got it done for us is we didn't mess around and try to get too cute with it. We saw a player we valued and we went out and got him. So first round picks are valuable, but players are even more valuable for where we are. So we were aggressive on that front.
Be this fairly aggressive.
Yes, definitely. Yep.
Yeah, that follow-up was, so you view your strategy this year to have been very aggressive. And he said, yes, it was. Struds, did it feel like an aggressive trade deadline?
I think based on the assets they had, they did as much as they could. They didn't have a first rounder this year, right? They traded away their first round for next year. They don't have a ton of assets to be trading away. So I think based on what they had, they filled some holes. And my hope is that both players they traded for, well, I guess all three, if you count Max Jones, all three will be on the team next year because 2 under contract, and I expect Frederick to be signed.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that, Struds, too, with the fact that the Oilers don't have a lot of assets. Their best asset as a player, as a young player, is Matt Savoy, who we traded Ryan McLeod for. So Matt Savoy is not going to get you, a top 6 forward. We have a first rounder 2-3 years from now, and then we got a couple, late first rounders playing junior. So the Oilers don't have a lot of assets that are that the other teams would want. To, okay, there's something that the Oilers got we want, and we're willing to give up something really, really good for it. So yeah, I agree. I think between the salary cap problems and the fact that really the Oilers don't have great assets to trade back the other way, that the teams, when they're scouting all the teams around, okay, here we've got this that we want to get rid of. Where is someone that we can go to that has something that we want? I don't think the Oilers are at the top of any of those teams' lists. So I think that would be a problem for Stan Bowman trying to make a deal is, really, we don't want anything you got.
I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit here,
Logan
guys.
Stanghoven.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, fair point, Strud. So who's their,
who's their
big
Stankoven,
dog
who's their
prospect-wise? Yeah.
Fraser Minton, like who is that for the Oilers? Right? There's a couple of them. They're in St. Louis, but there's none here. So
Right.
I understand Oilers fans wanted a top 6 forward. And Brownie, I agree with you, but I'm like, if I'm looking around, who are they trading to get this guy? Assuming they don't have a first rounder this year or next year. Let's say everything happened already. So you're trading for 3 years from now, a first rounder, and then which guy is it? O'Reilly? Is it Sam? Right, Sam O'Reilly, the young guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he's played pretty well. Does he have the same cachet as Kalen Ritchie that was traded from Avalanche? I'm not sure.
Yeah. So to answer your question, if you're trying to get in on Mikko Rantanen and the centerpiece of a Rantanen deal ends up being a guy like a Stankoven, right,
Yeah.
who is already in the league playing well and showing what he can do, and then some draft picks, and the Oilers are missing some of that draft capital. So maybe it's not Rantanen, right? Maybe that's not what it is. But there were some other top 6 forwards that moved the Oilers, Sam O'Reilly, Bo Akey, Matt Savoy. I believe that if the Oilers were willing to part with any one of those players and maybe another draft pick or something like that, that absolutely there was a meaningful top 6 forward that could have been had if you're willing to part with those guys. So it's a little bit like Bowman said that they were in on a lot of different things and they were trying and did they take any big swings? Well, here, you can listen to him. I asked him that question.
Did you take some big swings at potential splashes, or did you feel like the more conservative approach was the way you were going to have to go?
We talked about a lot of things. I mean, a number of things even today that just didn't really get all the way to the finish line. But I would say that's probably the norm around the league. If you knew everything that might have happened, you'd be surprised. But when you add it all up, we didn't make any additional moves other than the ones that have been announced. There was no added moves today. So not for lack of trying. I think.
Okay, there you go. Not for a lack of trying. So I don't know. I understand what you're saying, Struds, but like it feels like just letting it ride with what they've got next to Draisaitl. We don't know what was turned down. We don't know obviously if there was something that was obvious there, I'm sure they would have done it. But it just seems to say that our approach was to be as aggressive as possible, yet none of those 3 assets were moved, and you didn't go get someone to play as important a position as next to Leon Draisaitl. That doesn't feel as aggressive as the picture he was painting about how aggressive they were being, Struds.
Well, I think there's the other side of the coin. Did they like every player they went to look at? Right? Like, was there a perfect fit out there? Can we be sure that there's a guy that was the guy that they wanted? Was he smaller? Contract too big? Like, it's one thing to say we were looking at everything. It's another to say that we liked everything we looked at.
Well, and also throw in, Rishaug, you threw out those three names, Akey, O'Reilly, and Savoy. Savoy, we only had to give up Ryan McLeod to get Savoy. Ryan McLeod's a fourth-line player, third line at best. So Savoy's not getting you a big name. And O'Reilly and Akey, I mean, O'Reilly wasn't a World Junior player. O'Reilly's a nice junior player, but he's not. I mean, that's not going to knock your socks off of your team looking, okay, that's a kid that we want for our future. So other teams might not value those three players as to being that strong a prospect. So are they, maybe the Oilers threw all three of them and teams are like, yeah, no, we prefer to go another direction. So I do believe that, I mean, Stan Bowman's not dumb. He knows that the Oilers need a top six forward. He knows that Leon's been playing by himself the entire season. My guess is he offered all those players and other teams, we'll go elsewhere because we just don't value those players as highly as you do.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get to the Weiss Johnson soundbox one more time here. And here's what he has to say about Leon Draisaitl's line and the options that exist as of right now.
So who's it going to be going forward? I'm not quite sure yet. I think that we have different options, and I think that's something that's going to, I guess, unfold over the coming 20 games. You're right. I think Podkolzin and Arvidsson have probably spent the most time with him if you look at the numbers. And maybe that's the way it'll be. And if not, we have some other guys that might get a look there too. We have a few new players. I think when Frederick gets in the lineup, we've got to decide if we're going to use him at center or on the wing. Because I think if we're going to play him on the wing, he could play on the top two lines, or if we're going to use him in the middle, he's probably on the third line. So that's a couple weeks away until we're going to know that. But and then Jones had a really good night last night, I thought. Where will he end up? I don't really know that either. But even Kapanen's played a bit with Leon. And Cappy's been great at center the last stretch too. So I think that we do have a lot of options. Now it's for the coaches to figure out.
Okay. By the way, our sound brought to you by Weiss Johnson Heating and Air Conditioning. If it's time for a new furnace, garage heater, or water tank, you're looking to beat the rush on getting a new air conditioner for this summer, act now. The team over at Weiss Johnson already seeing an increase in requests for those AC units, specializing in servicing your existing mechanical system or installing new ones. They're here for all your home comfort needs. Visit weiss-johnson.com today. Jingle.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
So more of the same on Leon Draisaitl's wing. More of the same, hoping for different results. And it's not impossible, but Struds, what are the chances that something just clicks in a way that it hasn't yet between now and the postseason? And how costly might it be if nothing does? Because if nothing does, I'll tell you what, we're going to see a pile of 97 and 29 on the same line in the playoffs.
And I agree with Stan Bowman. I don't think we know who it will be, but we know who it won't be. We know it won't be Jeff Skinner. That's for sure. So I think we can take his name off the list as far as who it's going to be. Interesting point.
I don't know, man. They can't afford to take anybody off that list.
They
got to be open to all options. And that's part of the problem, bud, is I think they need to stay more open-minded that it might be Jeff Skinner. They can't afford to. They didn't get anybody else.
Skinner's not allowed to look at that list. That's how far away he is from that list. He is not even, when Leon goes on the ice, he has to close his eyes. Right? I'm with you. I don't know why they don't give him a longer chance. I'm missing something. There's something the hockey person I don't understand. I don't understand what the issue is there. Everyone else has gotten a chance. Everyone. And interesting that a little point he had there said if Frederick is in the middle, he's on the third line. So does that mean Henrique plays with Leon? That to me is like, oh, whoa. So could we see Henrique and I don't know, Brown or Arvidsson? Like maybe that's the guy that gets the bump up there. I think that's the piece I think that I was blown away by in that clip, Brownie.
Well, I think what we know is what the Oilers have on their roster right now, none of it works with Leon. Outside of possibly moving Nuge there or moving Hyman there. Everything else has been tried. Skinner's not getting a chance. And I know, Schauger, you think he can't get into the lineup with Kane and Frederick out of the lineup. When they come back, Skinner's not getting a look up there. That ship has sailed. But Colden and Arvidsson, I've said all year long, that's not a second line. To me, you either give Leon Hyman or you give Leon Nugent Hopkins, and then build a line around two twosomes. As for Henrique moving up, Henrique has had a very, very off season, and I don't think he's got the foot speed to play with Leon. I think if Frederick plays on the third line, then I think Henrique goes to your fourth line. I think that's the way that would work. But I would give Trent Frederick an opportunity, because what we know right now with the roster the Oilers have, none of those players have had success with Leon this year, and we know that because he's played with every single one of them at some point. So to me, the new guy coming in from Boston is the guy that gets a look when he's healthy, and you give Hyman or Nugent Hopkins, one of those two guys have to go with Leon. And I know that Stan Bowman talked about Kapanen. He talked about other players. No, Kapanen he's not a second line player, but Colson is not a second line player. Those guys are third, fourth liners at best. So I stand by what I said all along. The Oilers needed a guy to play in their top six. And unless Trent Frederick is good enough to do it, the Oilers never got that player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with Hyman playing the way he is right now, Nugent Hopkins as well, it just exacerbates the issue, Struds, because really, it feels like the Oilers have two top six forwards right now. Like it really, when those guys aren't contributing and playing the way they can, it feels really thin. I think a big part of what Stan Bowman is banking on here, and I guess it's calculated, you have no choice. You have to assume that Connor McDavid's play is going to pick up, and then that probably means that Nugent Hopkins and Hyman will have their production pick up because Connor's just that good. And you have to assume that, things will iron themselves out a little bit here defensively. Like if you made decisions based on strictly what the last 8 weeks showed you, that would be a tough position to be in if you're Stan Bowman, Strud. So he aggregates what he's seen over the entire season in making this decision, not just the headspace that maybe a lot of Oiler fans are in, which is, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap.
Oh, absolutely. That's a really good point. And, you look at this group, I think that there's 60 periods or so for this coaching staff to figure out what the best form of the lineup is for game 83. And as I'm sitting, I'm not sure. I don't know what it is. And in all honesty, I'm almost running out of ideas because Brownie just went through all the players that could play beside Leon. And, I think most of them could probably play there, but they're not getting it offensively done. So that's the challenge for this coaching staff. So someone's got to come out of left field. And, Trent Frederick, I don't know that he's a top six player beside Leon, but he's going to get a chance. I think he's going to get that chance in there. He's coming off a foot injury. And what's that? It's too high.
The bar is not high to be a top six player on Leon's wing.
I know, but I'm not sure he's the guy either. That's to be completely honest with you. So I wonder if that is Nuge and Hyman, are they in pen beside the big guy? Like, I don't know, maybe it changes up. They'll get everyone back or everyone healthy in let's call it 3 weeks, not Kane, but then they can try mix and matching because they got to figure it out. And Knobloch has figured it out in the past.
I just can't imagine, Struds, Brownie, I just can't imagine that if he would have waited this long to have gone with a consistent look, Draisaitl getting one of those other guys. Like if that's what he's thinking the solution might be, why hasn't he tried that? Why hasn't Nugent Hopkins had 15 games next to Draisaitl? Like if the plan is to break that top line up, they would have tried it by now, would they not have?
Well, yeah. Well, here's one of the things, and I said it when they happened about beginning of January when all of a sudden Knobloch split all the lines up when the Oilers were playing well and took Hyman away from Connor McDavid, and they changed everyone's lines up, and I didn't understand it then. And Knobloch came out just recently and said, we wanted to give other guys opportunities. Why? None of those players have played as well since they've all been put back together. The Oilers were playing well. Connor Brown was having a fantastic time. His third line was excelling, and then he split them up. Hyman, at that point, he was having this great run playing with McDavid, and all of a sudden they took Hyman away and moved him. And none of those players have ever had the same type of success. I think by mixing everything up and giving guys opportunities, I think they took away chemistry and they took away a group that was playing very well together. Now, as for Hyman and Nugent Hopkins, to me, now's the perfect time to split them up with McDavid. When's the last time the first line scored a 5-on-5 goal? 10 games? 12 games? Like, literally, I don't know if they've scored a goal in the last 12 games as a first line, 5-on-5.
I'll have to take a look.
Why not split them up now? Give Leon either Hyman or give Leon Nugent Hopkins. Give them one of those guys. Because now you got two pairs, and now you can try and fill in on the side. But because right now, offensively, it's not working. The others are getting power play goals, and they're getting 3-on-3 goals, and they're getting goals from Corey Perry, and that's about it.
I'm with you. You've talked me into it. I think it's Nuge with Leon, and then Hyman and McDavid. Then we figure out the rest around that, and maybe Frederick plays. Well, he'd have to play off his off wing there, I guess. Then up front to get with the big guy, you have to figure out that guy.
Brownie, what do you think Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl are feeling tonight? That's a tough question, but you've been an offensive brain. What do you think they're feeling? Do you think they feel like the team, okay, there were some meaningful additions there and they're certainly better than they were and they feel good about this? Or do you think they look around and think, oh boy?
Well, I'm never going to speak for Connor or Leon, and it would be wrong for me to do it. But I would, I'm looking around the National Hockey League and I look at some of the players that went to other teams, how they've rebuilt around McKinnon in Colorado. They got 10, 12 different players since the beginning of the year built around him. In Florida, the team that won the Stanley Cup, they went out and got Seth Jones. Oh, guess what? They got Brad Marchand as well up front, a true winner. So some of these teams have gone out and complemented their players with not just depth, but they've complemented them with stars. Even in Carolina, they swung for the fences with Rantanen. So there's teams that have gone and done it. So would never speak for Connor and Leon, and neither would ever come out and say anything that we wish we got more. But I mean, this is a big year for the Oilers. They were one game away last year. The expectations is the Stanley Cup. Now again, I don't know. I'm sure Stan Bowman did swing for the fences, and unfortunately, what he was offering wasn't enough. But you're sitting in that dressing room, and all of a sudden, for example, Leon's line mates are put Colson and Arvidsson next game, and when's the last time they scored a goal playing with Leon Draisaitl? So this team has overcome a lot with a lack of productivity out of their top two lines.
Yeah, no question. Couple of points here to make. Jeff Jackson put a lot of those no movement clauses in place. Stan Bowman wasn't around kind of during that free agent signing period. So for him to come and talk about how he felt so like his hands were tied behind his back because of the no moves is a bit of a tough dynamic, right? Because he's not the one that handed them out. So I think we know they must have gotten in the way of him trying to do some stuff that he wanted to do today. And maybe he's just not willing to sit there and lament about that. We've talked a lot about what they have not done, largely because we did a whole podcast the other day talking about what they had done. I believe Struds, they addressed the biggest need they needed to address, which was to meaningfully improve their blue line. I think they've added a player. And if this guy is good as I believe they think he can be, I think this will be a really good addition and a really important one. So we acknowledge that. I think Frederick is going to give them, if he's healthy, something they really, really need. So I think a couple of their, two of their top three needs were meaningfully addressed. And I think we need to acknowledge that in and amongst all this discussion about what they didn't do here.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Wallman, I think he makes a really good first pass. Is he the best defender on the planet? We're going to find out, and I think that I don't think he solves the defense like defending, but I think he can hopefully move the puck quick and get out of their zone. And then as far as Frederick, I think he brings energy, and especially if Kane can get back in time for the playoffs or in the playoffs. The two of them could be quite a duo, but I'm not sure what Kane will have when he does come back. And then kind of like, I think it was 2014, July in Vegas when I hit the craps table and I got absolutely on fire there. They can hope that someone gets on fire and plays beside Leon for the playoffs. John Drew's hot. I think that's what they're hoping for. So 2 out of 3, right? It's not off. It's pretty good considering what you gave up. And again, I truly believe all 3 players, including Frederick, will be on this team next year.
Mm-hmm. Brownie, any big
Well, I
picture
think
thought?
Meatloaf said it best. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So yeah. Although I mean, we're talking about we're talking about Wallman now. I mean, at one point in the season, we're talking the Oilers need a top 4 right-handed guy that can shut down the opposition, big strong guy. And now we're saying, well, Wallman's a good passer. That's really good. That's going to really help the Oilers. I mean, they're a better team, but this isn't what we were expecting and hoping earlier in the season. I mean, the guy doesn't even play the right side. So things change. Will the Oilers be better because of it? Yeah. But are the Oilers as good as they were last year when they went to Game 7 of the Florida Panthers?
No.
What do you think?
No.
No.
You'd be in a fist. Like, good luck finding someone that would say yes.
Yeah.
I don't think you'll find that knowledgeable hockey person who goes, this team's
but did Leon
better than the one.
Did Leon have were his wingers, or were you in love with his wingers last year? Because who was it last year? His wingers.
Oh boy, I have to call
Fogel.
up my
Fogel, Holloway.
in there sometimes.
Fogel and Holloway are both better than his wingers this year.
Listen, I agree, but I think last year we talked about it a lot that Leon, who was he playing with, right? Who was he playing with? No, you're right, Brownie, you're 100% right with that. But it was a similar hole last year. Now maybe I think people undervalued Warren Fogel.
Yeah.
And Holloway didn't get enough chance as he is this year in St. Louis.
Okay, we did not expect them to address the goaltending. They did not address the goaltending, but enough people on the stream have been passionate enough about it that we are going to run Stan Bowman's thought process on the goalies. Back to the Weiss Johnson soundbox.
Please, didn't get out of the gate strong. And then from November until probably the end of January, I thought our goaltending was really solid. I thought it was. And ever since then, it hasn't been as good. So understandable. But I do think that, last night's a pretty good reference point. I think that's what we can see. I thought Stu made a lot of saves for us. It's an important position. Absolutely. We're trying to not put so much pressure on them so that they have to save games for us. And I think we did a good job of that as a team for those stretch of months when our goaltending performed well. I think our team did a good job. I think our team game has escaped us a bit over the last probably 5-6 weeks. And as a result, it puts more pressure on your goalies. So I'd like to see both things have a little bit of an uptick, the goalies' performance, both goalies as well as our team. And
all right, there you go. So he feels when the team play gets better, that will reflect better on his goaltenders. Does not believe he needs to have goaltenders that should be having to steal games consistently if the team is playing the way that it wants to. Okay, we went nice and long here, but why not? It's trade deadline day. What we're going to do here, Struds, let's do our Relentless player, Struds. I'm not sure if you want to pick a particular general manager out there or somebody. I don't know what you want to do with the Relentless player, but let's get to it. Brought to you by UCAN Youth Services, the annual Comedy Night fundraiser. It's ready to rock and roll. Only a couple of tables remain for the week of March 17th to 19th. They're selling fast, so get on it. If you're looking for more ways to show your support, the 50-50 draw and raffle open today. Great prizes, an 85-inch TV, $1,000 at Lululemon. Strudy would love that. And WestJet flight for 2 as well. Visit www.ucancomedy.ca. Got Your Back is going on the 19th. We're looking forward to it, and it's going to be a ton of fun. Relentless player of the day, Struds.
I'm going to give credit to all the insiders: Darren Drager, Prayer LeBrun, Elliot Friedman, Frank Saravalli, all these guys that were relentless in the pursuit of the story on Mikko Rantanen. I mean, this has been crazy from the first time it dropped, the first trade, and then the whole time would he resign, and then will he be kept with Carolina, then will he be going to Dallas, what they're getting, the delay in getting the return out. It's been crazy, the Mikko Rantanen coverage that these guys put in. I've been refreshing on all those guys for, I think, every hour since about 24 hours ago. So let's give them some credit. That is not an easy job, and tracking that story down, and it's an incredible one. was pretty awesome.
Is it two claps and a hip yip? Hip hooray?
Two
yips and a
I don't
clap? What is it?
They can get the Relentless, but we don't give out 2 claps and a woo for people doing their job.
To the media. Well, I want an honorable mention for Craig Button, who called the game last night at the rink. And then as I was leaving at like 10:30 or something like that, he was like shaking hands and taking pictures as he was trying to get to the airport. 6 a.m. he was on the air in Toronto, took the red eye overnight straight to the set. And then he had a heck of a day along with our great crew. That was our Relentless player of the day. All right, Steve, hop on in here, buddy. Let's get to our DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll. We're going to be real blunt with this one, folks. DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center, the snow is melting and golf season is coming. I had a buddy text me and said, are you thinking what I'm thinking with the weather? Yeah, it's so tempting to get out there. DeBoer's is booking fittings 10 days in advance, so get your spot now. Get fit to play your best. The team dedicated to helping you play better golf is at DeBoer's. Visit them at 5311 99th Street in Edmonton. Nice and blunt today, Steve. I love it.
Yeah, can't get more simple than this. So the question simply is, how would you grade Bowman's day? The 4 options are an A, a B, C, or D. That's it.
All right. You guys have an immediate thought, Struds?
B. I put a B down. 2 out of 3 is like my buddy Rob Brown said, ain't bad. B for me, Brownie.
I'm going to go a B- because I want to see Wallman play with the Oilers first to see where he fits into whether or not it becomes a B+.
Mm-hmm. They feel like they got they really like this defenseman. So they're very confident they're getting an excellent player here. So I'm going to say, I'll go B. C plus B, somewhere in that range. 2 out of 3. So we'll go a B for now. But is a B good enough? I think that's also a fair question, considering where they're at right now. Okay, great segment, guys. Love it. Brownie, do you need to be out by 6 o'clock?
I'm a little chilly right now, standing outside in Savannah. It's a little cold out here.
Watch your borrow quilt.
I was just going to say that.
Andy?
Borrow the quilt. Hey, the quilt came through huge today. That was huge.
Oh, yeah, I need that quilt right now. And a toque. I need the quilt and the toque right now.
People make fun of me all they want, but Parker came through clutch there. Okay, Brownie, here's what we're going to do, buddy. I want to make sure we get Brownie points in. So why don't we come back? We'll do Brownie points next. And then we will get to takeaways because we'll get your word on a few of the bigger trades of the day, and then we'll let you fly after that. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good.
All right, sounds good. We will be right back here on Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
At HSE Core, we are dedicated to providing unparalleled safety compliance services to small and medium-sized businesses through our monthly health and safety program management, including managing contractor screening registries and core auditing services. Let HSE Core Services help you maintain a safe workplace for you and your valued employees. Visit us at hsecore.com.
Time now for takeaways brought to you by Martin Motorsports. Do you know they actually have apparel, Brownie? Did you know you could go get like a nice, spring bomber jacket that you could wear outside? So you don't have to be freezing cold.
I could use it
if
right
you're
now.
missing clothing, Brownie.
Well,
yeah.
Maybe you could send one up here right now, please. Do they deliver?
I think Chris is out. Chris is out having some playtime on one of these snowmobiles right now. Look at these things. The deep snow sleds riding effortlessly through the trees on your way to the highest peaks. Visit Martin Motorsports today to choose the features that will create your perfect ride. It's a 2026 Skidoo model lineup that has arrived. Check it out at martinmotorsports.ca. All right, some big trades. We'll kind of rapid fire our way through the day and talk about some of the big winners. We have to do this Rantanen thing. Rantanen to Dallas, and it took a long time. It finally ended up getting done. Who knew that 8 times 12 was going to get it done? Yes, I know it's that no tax state thing, but man, what a haul here for the Dallas Stars, Struds, who, by the way, roll into town tomorrow.
So are the Carolina Hurricanes geniuses or just lucky? Because I actually think they came out pretty good out of this whole thing. You think about for 13 games of him, Nick Cash, and a first rounder, they got a ton of players back or tons of assets back, and Logan Stankoven. Obviously, he's not as good as Mikko. But for kind of brokers, a middleman, I think they came out smelling like roses here. So if they did it on purpose, I'll give them credit. If not, well, that's whatever. I think I don't have to say the words. But yeah, so I think Dallas got a good player. Now, is he going to fit in right away and be the stud that they think he can? Offensively, it didn't come together, although his numbers were pretty good there. He wasn't able to score a lot, so it'll fit right away at Dallas. We'll see. He's got 60 periods to figure it out as well.
Well, to me, both Dallas and Carolina are in win-now modes. Both teams are teams that many considered beginning of the season as cup contenders. The Dallas Stars got a 6'4", 50-goal scorer and gave up a 5'8", 9-goal scorer. Carolina Hurricanes, also in a win-now mode, ended up losing Nikash, Jack Drury, and all they got was a 5'8", 9-goal scorer. So I think the Carolina Hurricanes lost horribly in this. I mean, by the time the first rounders come to fruition, I mean, a number of their players that make them good are no longer going to be there. I think this was great for Dallas. They're an older team that is built for today, and they got much better today with Rantanen instead of Stankoven. So I think this was a great trade for the Dallas Stars.
I'm with you on this, Brownie. 100% with you on this. I just don't know why you'd make that trade if you do not have any idea as to whether or not Rantanen wants to sign with you. It's too big a trade to make. Nate just is too important a player to that organization. So that, to me, is mistake number one. And then the return on this, like they took themselves from a win now team to a win maybe in a few years team pretty quickly here, Struds. Like this is a pretty significant about face talent-wise, what they're putting out there night to night.
So I guess what you guys are saying is that they had no clue about what they were doing. And that'd be fair. That'd be fair as well. But when I look at it, they have now, 2 first rounders and they have 2 third rounders. They can trade those for actual players, right? We've seen that happen before and load up in that way, or not add in that way, right? So I don't know. I mean, listen,
those players right now instead of those
That's
picks.
A good point. Yeah, exactly. If they would have done that today with those first rounders, if they would have went and got Alex Puck, and then they would have went and got Besser, then I'm all in. Then I'm like, all right, they did it. But no, I agree that they took a win for a team that could win today. They're no longer in the picture anymore after what they lost. So I think this was a terrible day for the Carolina Hurricanes.
Well, I think the terrible day was when they traded for Rantanen, not knowing if they could sign him. That's where you go back. There's no way you make that. You can't make that trade, and I think that was a mistake by them. So now you're sitting on it, trying to figure out what to do. So it's a mismanagement by them.
I'll tell you what you do. You keep them. You make a run at the Stanley Cup. You give them a few months to see what life is like living there. The team's basically been on the road since they made that trade, Struds. Give him a chance. Get a feel for the place. Get a feel for his teammates. Let him sink in. Go on a run. Maybe you get 3 rounds in and there's some emotional attachment there and he makes a couple of good buddies and you give him a sense for what your plan is in the off season next year and let her ride because you've given yourself a chance this year. What have they done to their chances this year?
I disagree. I think that's 2 years in a row you have traded for someone big and have nothing to show for it. That's really risky. I don't think that's not. I wouldn't have done that. But I'm very conservative by nature. I only wear black and gray.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Colorado Avalanche. Keeping an eye out on the Western Conference teams here. Charlie Coyle comes rolling in. That's a good playoff player there. Playoff built. Brock Nelson, similar. They had Lindgren before VC. They revamped their goaltending. I mean, the Colorado Avalanche here, Brownie, have done a pretty nice job of filling needs and rerouting themselves after a tough start to the year.
100%. To me, this is a team that won the biggest on not just trade deadline, but throughout the season. They realized that, okay, we have some holes. Let's fix them. I mean, who trades both goaltenders during the season? And they upgraded. Brock Nelson was at the top of everyone's list until Rantanen became available. Then he was number 2. They got Brock Nelson. Now, the problem for the Colorado Avalanche for a long time was they were a one-line team. They're not now. They got a line they can build around Nelson. They got Coyle there. Nikishkin's back. Or how do you say his name? I say it wrong every time.
Nichushkin?
Yeah. You got it,
Russian
Nichushkin.
guy. Yeah. Okay, so he's back. To me, right now, and I know Winnipeg's in first place, and Colorado's they're down in a wild card spot. To me, Colorado just set themselves up as a team to beat with what they've done over the course of the last 3 months. I think they've done a really nice job building around Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar, and I really like everything that Colorado has done.
3 centermen, buddy. 3 centermen. McKinnon's big and strong. You got Brock Nelson, who's a big guy that can make plays. And then Charlie Coe is a really good third-line center. He's not a second-line center. I think that they figured that out in Boston the last couple of years. And then give Avs credit. Case Middlestat didn't work out. He is not that. It just wasn't working out there. And going to Boston, I don't see him as a Bruin player at all. That one makes no sense.
Mm-mm.
I mean, I guess I have him for a couple of years, but I'm like, that feels like
the Bruins are doing here. Like, what are they doing, Struds?
If you want to transition, it's obviously they're moving on from really everything. Now, Brad Marchand, listen, guys, this isn't the Brad Marchand of a half dozen years ago, right? Like he's still a competitor. He can still, put the puck in the net. He's not as fast as he once was. So he's not, I don't think he's your go-to guy, but in Florida, he doesn't have to be. But in Boston, he's getting up there, and to sign him to another contract, I think it's time to move on. And they did that with him and some other players there. But just the Avs, like they're 3 centermen, and even Jack Drury is your 4. Like they've got 4 good centermen there. Nichushkin and Nelson, if that duo can figure it out, that's big, and that could be some heavy hockey. So I mean, the Central is an absolute monster of a division. That is going to be a tough division to get out of, guys. Really tough.
Taking a look at the Toronto Maple Leafs, the 2 players they added, Brandon Carlo and Scott Laughton, on this day. Both of those would have been great fits here in Edmonton for sure. And I know Oilers fans probably feel the sting of that a little bit here, Struds, but I thought the Maple Leafs did a really good job filling needs with really good players.
So Fraser Minton's the key to this discussion with Brandon Carlo, right? That I think he's a really good player, or going to be a really good player, and a first rounder. The Oilers, we don't have that guy. The Oilers don't have that
second
guy.
Rounder, but yes, good player, 38th overall.
So he's only second. They gave a second rounder.
38th overall. Yep.
Who was?
Oh,
Carlo
and a second rounder. Sorry, I thought you were saying Minton was a first rounder. Sorry about that.
No, he's. I'm just saying, no, a first rounder and a really good. I think he's a good prospect. I think he's better than what the Oilers had, in my opinion. Now, I might be wrong, but that's from what I've seen. So that's a nice pickup for them, and he's going to help that group a lot. Carlos, and he's been around for a while, big, and so I like that. And then, Lon, I like him. I don't love him. I think some people overvalue him, and I'll be interested to see what he looks like as a third line center there, because they had Max Domi as a third line center in the Leafs. Is he that much better than Max Domi? Bigger. The skill level, is it higher than him? I don't know if he's a better passer than Max Domi. So I'll be interested to see. I wasn't in love with that player like many Oilers fans were. I think a lot of people love the idea of him. I don't know if he's the player that I think he, I guess he's only $3 million, but still, I don't know, Brownie. He's not, I don't love him as much as others valued him.
No, I agree. The problem that Toronto has is Toronto needs to be good enough to win that division regular season wise, because there's going to be a really, really good team in that division losing in the first round. Just like out west, Dallas and Colorado are probably going to go in the first round. One of those teams will be gone in the first. You do not want to come in second or third in that division and all of a sudden have to play Florida or Tampa, and then have to play Florida or Tampa in the next round. So it is key for all 3 of those teams, Tampa, Florida, and Toronto, it's key for that one of those teams to win the division, so you don't have to go through both teams. There are 2 elite divisions right now, I think, in the NHL, and it's the Florida Panthers division that all 3 teams, Tampa, Florida, and Toronto, went out and really improved at the deadline. And then the Colorado, Winnipeg, Dallas division, where all three of those teams are better now. So I think Toronto's better, but I don't know if they're better than the Florida Panthers and or the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Quick thought on the Panthers, Struds. Obviously, the Seth Jones deal before was big for them. And then they add a sneaky little adder right at the deadline, Brad Marchand.
Yeah, I think Seth Jones, I don't think he's as good as everybody thinks he is. I think that he's big. He can, take up space, but I'm not sure he's the stud that people think he is at that number. I think Brad Marchand will bring feistiness, but again, it's not the player he was a couple of years ago. So I'm probably warmer on the Seth Jones ad than I am on Brad Marchand, boys.
I think it's a great ad, Brad Marchand. You bring championship pedigree. The guy just played for Team Canada. He's still got game. He's going to make them better. Seth Jones, he can be a second pairing guy. That's awesome for Seth Jones. He doesn't have to play in the first pairing, so now you're giving him fewer minutes and a lesser group to play against. And they also added, I can't think of the kid's name, but from San Jose, it's a centerman that leads the National Hockey League in faceoff percentage. Just a subtle ad by the Florida Panthers. Yeah, so I think the Florida Panthers are a better team today than they were. So I think that is a tough division. I think Florida got better, and they'll have in their eyes, hopefully a healthy Tkachuk come playoff time. That is a tough division to come out of. As usual, the Toronto Maple Leafs are in very tough as they got a good Florida team and a very good Tampa team as well.
And also notable, Noah Gregor, nephew of our good buddy Jason Gregor, sent back to the San Jose Sharks today as well. The last one I'll ask you about, Brownie, here. So you're wondering if what's that?
No, about Noah Gregor. I like the way he plays. I like his size. He shoots hard. He skates fast. Like, I don't understand why he keeps getting moved around. Like, and I know Gregor's a friend of mine, so it sounds a little biased, but every time I watch him, he to me, he looks like a perfect fourth liner. So I'm missing something there again on this player. Go ahead. Sorry, Shagar.
Mm-hmm. So our last one. I'm not sure what the future of Brady Tkachuk is in Ottawa, but I can't imagine that it's any brighter after what happened today. I don't know if you need to factor in friendships in most instances, Struds, but when Brady Tkachuk is standing there in tears because you traded his best friend away, and there's a lot of question about this guy's long-term future with the organization, I don't know. Should they have considered that, or does it not matter? What do you think of that deal?
Josh Norris is an $8 million player who's scored more than 20 goals one time. He is injury prone, and he's not a very big player. Yeah, sometimes you got to do things that make up people upset. I'll take a ride on Dylan Cousin. I'll see what he can do. I like another player I like the idea of. He's had some good years. He can play hard. He's a right shot center. Should slot in behind Stützle. But Josh Norris, guys, he's been injury plagued. $8 million once he scored more than 20 goals. One time.
You're right, Fred. The only problem, I see what you're saying, Chagar, too. I mean, is Ottawa a destination place that you want to stay your whole career? They just traded away your best friend. Your team's had zero success. Yeah, I mean, you did possibly put in the back of Brady Tkachuk's mind, maybe this isn't the place I want to be. So they probably should have taken into consideration, although I agree it was probably a good move for the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah. Great perspective, boys.
Yeah. Sorry, just hockey-wise, I think it's a great move. And there could be some byproduct, but honestly, guys, look at what he's accomplished. That's a big bucks for that, best friend or not.
All right, that was Takeaways. Quick rip through the league on deadline day, brought to you by Martin Motorsports. Quickly, Brownie, let's get to Brownie Points, brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. The ultimate game day snack made using prime Alberta beef is available in 13 amazing flavors, and there's a taste for every craving. Buy 2 pounds of jerky for $70. Get a free bonus quarter pound of mystery flavor. And as always, free shipping Alberta-wide. AlbertaJerky.com is the website. The code is Got Your Back for an additional 10% off. I know you're freezing cold, Brownie. I felt it all day today. So go ahead with Brownie Points, and then you're free to roam free.
I can barely pull the napkins out of my pocket. My hands are so cold. I got minus 39 Brownie Points. That's the temperature right now in Savannah for the LA Kings. After losing 3 straight years to the Edmonton Oilers, they've got better goaltending this year. They've got a pretty deep team, but the one thing they don't do is score goals. So what do they do on trade deadline? They trade for one guy who 3 years ago, scored 39 goals and has been horrible since. To me, I'm thinking the LA Kings are going to make a splash. This is their year. This is the year that he's going to do it. So, but no, not the LA Kings. They trade for Kuzmenko. That's a bad trade for the LA Kings. I got 2 brownie points to the Florida Panthers, trying for their second Stanley Cup in a row. They swung big. They got Seth Jones. They got Brad Marchand. I think the Panthers are a better team today than they were last week. They are taking a run at the Cup. I have got 12 brownie points to the Colorado Avalanche. Since November 30th, the Avs have added 12-plus players to join the top 3 player in the world, Nathan McKinnon, and the best team-man in the world, Cale Makar. I give credit to the Colorado Avalanche. They're not sitting status quo. They're trying to get better, and let's see if they did come playoff time. Minus 96 brownie points to the Carolina Hurricanes. They turned Mikash and Drury into a 5'8", 9-goal scorer, Stan Coven. They took themselves right out of the Stanley Cup picture. To me, that is a travesty for what Carolina has done. And the final one, I am in Savannah, Alberta right now doing, I think it's called the Condi Cup. I am up here with Ron and Rich Sutter. I got out of the car today after the long drive up. First person I saw was Ronnie Sutter, who took 14 stitches to the eye as he played a game yesterday. In the first shift of the game, took a stick to the eye, had to go to the hospital. So I've got 14 brownie points to my good friend Ron Sutter, who looks like he just had a fight with an axe out back here in Savannah, Alberta. And that, my friend, are brownie points.
Isn't it Savanaugh, Struds? Is it just me or is it Savanaugh?
I'm not sure. I don't. His teeth are chattering so much I didn't understand a word he said.
All right, Brownie. Listen, I'm not going to have you for the big debate tonight. So as you go, Ripple chips, regular chips, same flavor, correct?
100%. It's the exact same flavor, just as a different texture. Everybody knows that.
Duly noted. I'll do my best for the good side of the argument, buddy. Take care. We'll chat after the game.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
All right. See ya. The great Robbie Brown. Okay. We're going to get to a break. When we come back, Struds, I think what we need to do, I think we got to just get to this chip debate because we need to give people time to vote. So, Steve, let's take us to break. When we come back, we're going to get this chip thing sorted out once and for all. And then we will do Strudy's World. And then ask us anything. So that'll be our order here. So lots more ahead here on the show. Stay with us.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolanddentistry.com.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
For over 60 years, Belvedere Golf and Country Club has been delivering a high-quality golf experience to Edmonton and area. This beautiful private club, located on Highway 21 just south of Sherwood Park, occupies 160 acres and presents a challenging yet adventurous 18-hole design. A beautiful clubhouse, fully stocked pro shop, and warm, friendly staff truly make it feel like you belong to something unique and special. Visit www.belvederegcc.com.
Their normally very legitimate segment for this mess of an argument that we're about to have. If you're a skilled tradesperson or construction professional looking for work in Western Canada, AECOM wants to hear from you. One of Canada's original industrial contractors. They're building what matters today, and they want you to join their team. Send your resume to trades@acon.com. If you were looking for work, your resume to trades@acon.com. So in order to start a new poll, and we are going to start a new poll, and it's just going to be really simple, right? It's just going to be, which side are you on? So we had to end the last poll, Steve, and it looks like with 56% of the vote, Stan Bowman's grade today is a B. C gets 27%, D 9%, and A 5%, 236 votes right in there. So with that, we can move on. Don't put the poll in yet, because we need to make our arguments first. Struds, you have submitted that Ripple chips are not the same flavor as regular chips, that they're in fact different flavors.
Right.
I wholeheartedly
exactly
disagree. You're going to have a minute or two here to make your argument.
Sure.
Steve and I are listening with an open mind. Go ahead.
All right, members of the jury, I want to thank you for letting me bend your ear today. For those people who believe that Ripple chips and plain chips taste the same, those are the kind of people that believe that raspberry and strawberries are the same. Those are the kind of people that believe Pepsi and Coke are the same. They're the kind of people who believe that a work on the elliptical machine is the same as an actual workout with weights and running. They're all incorrect. This is the difference. This is what my argument boils down to. Plain chips taste like potatoes. Ripple chips taste like deep fried salt. There's a difference. They're much saltier. They're thicker, but there's a difference in flavor between the two. Everyone with refined taste buds like myself, who understands Slurpee flavors, understands these other type of flavors, we get it. Those of you that just pal through chips and stand over hover over top of the chip and dip and just shove it into your mouth without ever tasting anything, you don't know what it's all about. The next time you have a plain chip and a Ripple chip, take a second, put one in your mouth, suck on it, then the other one, get a sense, because you'll see the deep fried salt taste is reflected in the Ripple chip. Thank you for listening today, and I'll look forward to a positive verdict.
Okay. Well stated, well articulated. I didn't have time to get my argument together because I ran late pulling all those Stan Bowman clips. So I don't really have quite as organized a presentation. But frankly, Struds, I don't need one. This is so obvious, it's painful. And those of us with half a brain here are feeling pained by the fact that we're even having to make this argument. So I boiled it down to this simple. I Googled Lay's regular chip ingredients: potatoes, vegetable oil, and salt. I then Googled Lay's Ripple ingredients: potato, vegetable oil, and salt. Then if you Google Lay's Ripple ingredients ketchup, tomato powder is added to that list of ingredients. So the two ingredients for the two foods that are at debate here are the same. Now, is the sodium level slightly higher on one than the other? Yeah. Fundamentally, it's a little bit bigger a chip. But the ingredients are the same, thus making it the same flavor. I don't think I need to say anything else. And I expect a 100% win in the poll today because this is not even debatable. It is the same. Steve, do you have anything to add to this mess?
Yeah, I do. I mean, you guys both saw my Chat GPT screenshot that I sent on the group chat. I wanted the internet to take care of it for me. I'll throw that up right now. So I asked Chat GPT, I said, are plain potato chips and plain Ripple potato chips the same flavor? For example, Old Dutch Original and Old Dutch Ripple chips. And Chat GPT said, yes, plain potato chips and plain Ripple chips, like Old Dutch Original and Old Dutch Ripple, have the same flavor. Both are typically made with just potatoes, oil, and salt. The main difference is texture. But in terms of taste, they should be identical. So that comes from the internet. Personally, I do think eating them is a different experience, but I do think the flavor is absolutely the same. I'm with Schauger and Brownie, and I assume most of everyone else on this one.
Well, I'm going to throw Jerry Mancini in here too, our good friend on the show, and he actually has worked for a potato chip company for a long, long time, Struds. And this will be my final submission of evidence. Ryan Rishaug is right. Strudy is wrong. The wavy chip does not add flavor or add any flavor to a chip. It's just the texture of the chip that is different. Some people like a flat chip. Some people like a wavy chip. That is really all it is. Struds, I will give you the last word, and then Steve will get the poll live.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that you had 2 times to talk, and then Steve jumped in, and I'm not sure who's Chat GP or GPT. Okay. Do I know this guy?
Here we go.
Do I know him? Has he ever tasted? Has Chat GT, whatever his name is, has he ever tasted one before? Has Chat the B, the 2T, whatever it's called, does he know what love is? Yeah, that vote means nothing. That's like someone who's never tasted a chip before weighing in on this vote. That guy doesn't know anything. Chad or whatever his name is. It's outrageous that it happens. Exactly. There's my Marita or whatever the name is. You can't ask for something that's never tasted it before. So I'm going to strike that from the record. And Shrugger, you had 2 chances to do it. And who is it? Jerry whatever his name, the Mancini.
Jerry Mancini.
All of a sudden he works for it and he knows. So it's unreal. To me, he works. Strike that all from the record. Strike it all from the record.
You can't strike
my
stuff from the record. Listen, I'm trying so hard to give you the last word. You can't strike my arguments from the record. So for the jury, no, do not strike it. All submissions are to be considered. You don't get to strike my stuff, and I don't get to strike your stuff.
It's procedure. That's procedure. And the Chad
Objection.
BP or whatever his name is, it's a procedure infraction. That's how it works.
Who do I object to?
Well, you're looking at him.
Right.
I'm the judge. I'm not the jury, but I'm the judge.
I'm giving you last word. I'm trying so hard to give you last word, but you keep striking my stuff. So don't strike anything from the record. Okay. Just have the last word so I can say I gave you the last word. Go.
3 words. Deep fried salt flavor. That's what it is. Difference with ripple and non-ripple chips.
4 words.
And I'm striking all your stuff from the record. The Chippy Van Peet, whatever that guy's name is, doesn't get a weigh in on it.
Who says 3 words and then says 4 words following that? That was 4 words. You should lose just based on that. All right, enough. I'm calling it. All right, Steve, throw it in the chat. Throw it in the poll. Everybody has had a chance to have their say. So let's do this. Put it in. We got one more break, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so put it in. We're going to go to break. Everybody needs to recover here. Like this got way, way out of hand. So throw it in and let's go to break. Everybody go to your corners and relax. Take a breath. When we come back, we will have Strudy's World and Ask Us Anything, and then we'll have an opportunity to go over the results in Ask Us Anything and get, Steve, you can grab some people's opinions on that for Ask Us Anything as well. Struds, if a handshake were available right now between you and me, I wouldn't do it. I don't love the way you went about this. We'll be back here on Got Your Back.
Shake your buddy Chad's hand.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
Join over 250,000 Canadians who have upgraded to Canada's best mattress. Douglas is proudly made in Canada and ships directly to your door for free. Douglas is easy to set up. Enjoy perfectly balanced comfort and an easy-to-clean machine washable cover. Get a free sleep bundle with your Douglas mattress. Try risk-free for 365 nights. Get your Douglas mattress today.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
Matt Blom says there's more passion on this chat debating chips than the Canucks have shown all season. There, something for all Oiler fans to come together and agree on. If you could hear the chirping that goes on during the commercial break, all I'm going to say is Struds is not happy that Steve swung it in my direction. There was some unhappy Struddy stuff going on during the break. Let's get to Struddy's World, brought to you by Timberhouse. If you're tired of those dull cookie-cutter houses, Timberhouse is looking to shake things up. Their designs harness the power of natural light to brighten your days and lift your spirits, because life is too short for ordinary houses and dull living. Let them build you a place where laughter and good times are part of the blueprint. Don't worry about rolling the intro, Steve. Let's just get right to Struddy's World. Struds?
You know, trade deadline is a tough time, and Shagri, you asked us about our experience going through trade deadline, and I was never traded at trade deadline. I was just traded once before, but it is an unsettling time, and it's something that Brownie said. I really want to key on it. It's one thing to go to another team, because usually that means they want you. What is unsettling is when you're on a team and someone better than you comes in at your position and you get pushed down. And obviously this is very personal. This happened to me many times. And it's really hard because now, I'm looking at the Oilers, Troy Stetcher and Klingberg and Emerson, and their spots are very tenuous in the lineup from night to night. Now, I think we all agree that probably Emerson's in there because of what he does on the penalty kill. But those other two guys now are really out until there's any time, in the future. Same thing with Jeff Skinner now. When Frederick comes in, let's call it 2-3 weeks, his spot already out of the lineup will just get harder to get in because now there's another player coming in. So it's exciting when we're talking about it. We're going to fit this guy and that guy, but there are always casualties. They get pushed out, they dropped out. Now that's hockey, that's professional hockey, and you get it. But that's the human part of it all. Even look at Derek Ryan, who was sent down. To make room for others. Great Oiler, been a really good hockey player and a good guy for a long time. Unfortunately, he kind of gets squeezed out. So that's always the human part. It's exciting at the top, not so exciting at the bottom when you're the turd that drops out of the back of it.
Strong finish, Struddy. Strong finish. Do not consider that when voting for the chip thing, okay? He can have a good Struddy's World. It doesn't mean you got to vote for him on the chip thing. I'm pissed at you. Starting over at 61 says, I considered Schauger's argument, then struck it from my mind. You can't do that starting over at 61. If you like my argument, Struddy doesn't get to strike it. So give me a vote. Not loving the way this is going, but my people are waiting till the last minute here, Struds. I love what you said there. There is some human elements to this, and whether insiders, reporters, we kind of don't always see that. I think of Scott Lawton on the phone. I think it was Lawton on the phone with our guy ESN today, where he basically just, they said, have you had a chance to talk to the Leafs yet? And he's like, I haven't even called my mom yet. He had just gotten off the phone with his wife, and now he's on national television. Like, things happen so fast. And then you got kids, and quite often they're leaving and getting on a plane, or maybe they're already on the road and they don't get to go home and they go straight to their new destination. Like, there's a lot of real world stuff. These guys take it on willingly because they're playing in the show, Struds. Yeah. But it stings, I imagine, at times.
It's the job. Right now, I didn't have kids when I was playing. It's why I could just up and leave. I just got traded, no problem. I grabbed my laptop, my bucket of sour soothers, and get out the door. Like, it didn't matter, right? But once you have kids, it's a lot harder to leave them behind, and you're missing things. You think for a guy like Derek Ryan, he's missing his kids' activities, right? Whether it's any kind of sports or, anything they're doing, the school play, whatever it is, right? So that's where it becomes really difficult. Now, you chose this. You choose this profession, so you accept it, but does it make it easier? And even Mikko Rantanen, I can't imagine making that type of decision, $100 million decision within 24 hours, 48 hours, Schauger, whenever Dallas would reach out to him. I don't know the time. You might be more, and listen, Dallas is a nice place, but there's 32 teams. I'm guessing every team would have liked a piece of Mikko Rantanen. So I'll stand by my thing. I would have waited. Now, it's easy for me to say when someone's offering $100 million, but to make sure you get it right. Now, Dallas is hard to get wrong, but it is tough. And I think that's also the other side. So that's not the turd getting dropped out. That's committing somewhere for, it'd be 9 years counting this year, Schauger. I know this year isn't full, but you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. And, the idea that you go to free agency and you just get to be like wined and dined and romanced and, just take your pick and look around and all that. Now, Dallas has those, those nice state taxes, and that's or lack of thereof. And that makes it easier. It's a great location. It's warm weather. There's a lot there. Players love going there. So, to a degree, I understand it, but foregoing the opportunity to be able to absolutely call your shot. And like some guys, so like John Klingberg, for example, right? He turned down the big deal because he wanted to see what was out there in the market. Ended up costing him dearly. This is not John Klingberg, all due respect to Klingberg that we're talking about. This money was going to be there for rent, and with multiple options and multiple destinations, this wasn't going poof for him, Struds.
No. And the money was going to be there. Now, I know recognize maybe one less year, but just think about it, Shogger. He was cruising along with Colorado. Now, apparently he was offered a deal and it didn't work out, and it was kind of pulled out, and he was traded right away. So his head spinning, goes to Carolina within, what was it, Shogger, a week? They're shoving a deal at him. And I get it. You're trying to sign your guy. And then, another week later, rumors are he might get traded again. And then you signed with Dallas. So, three teams, everyone just throwing money at you. Probably all your buddies talking to you. Like, that's a lot to do to figure out. And now he's settled. Okay, I get it. He's going to have to find a place to live and get all that. But I wonder how his play is, in this 2 weeks, just to get his head unspun because of so much has happened to him.
Don't know if he'll get there for tomorrow night. They were at home, I believe, right? So that's a ways for him to go. I don't know. Is he going to be in the lineup for Dallas tomorrow night? I haven't heard yet. I haven't seen it online.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything either, but I mean, that pretty big flight to get over there. Now, maybe they send their plane, right? Maybe they have sent the plane.
Yeah, that's when you grab the plane for sure. All right, that was Strudy's World, brought to you by Timber Hoss Developments. And I begrudgingly say a pretty good edition of Strudy's World. Do not let it sway your vote. Still lots of time to get in on the action here, so I highly encourage you, if you have not voted, now is the time for you to get in there and vote. Sanity is on the line here. This is a fight for democracy as we know it, so please vote if you have not. All right, let's get to Ask Us Anything. We want to know how Oiler fans are feeling right now. That's brought to you by Mortgages by Maria. Is your mortgage renewal date just around the corner or coming up in 2025? Don't sign early and take the first offer. Explore your options and timing of your renewal with potential rate drops that could save you thousands and put money back in your pocket, but you need an expert, and that is what Maria Gallus at Maximal Mortgages is. mortgagesbymaria.ca for expert guidance and better mortgage solutions. Contact Maria Gallus. All right, we're going to wrap the poll at the tail end of this segment, Steve. So for now, what are the people saying about all things?
Okay,
that's so biased. If you're winning, you'd wrap it up. I strike that from the record.
What? No, I always said we would wrap it up at the end of the show. Why would we cut it now?
We wrap
People
the
have
poll
a perfect chance.
For 100 years before we do Ask Us Anything, we always wrap up the poll. Zuby always does it. And this time you're losing. So vote for me. That's a vote for progress.
I can't even tell him. I can't even tell if I'm losing. I don't even know where to see it. I can't. Where is it? I don't even know where it is.
Getting trounced.
Can't see it. He's looking all around him and he can't see it anywhere. Okay, let's move on. So people want to know, Shogger, where's the famous quilt? They want to know more about the famous quilt. You mentioned Parker gave it to you.
Yeah.
I don't know if that excuses you wearing it on national television, but please do argue your case there. Talk about the quilt.
I was freezing cold. Anybody that's been inside that rink knows it's cold. When it's empty, it's even colder. And so I was legit sitting there freezing my ass off, and Parker was like, I got a blanket downstairs. And I was like, sure. So he went down. It was his Auntie Faye that knit it for him. And so he brought it up, and I put it on me because I was freezing cold. Now, what I wasn't aware of at first was that he did it so that he could shoot me with it and then fed it down the line. And I realized halfway through that he was shooting me, and it was too late. Mm-hmm. That's the reason it got on TV. Parker set me up. He gave it to me, shot me with it, made me look like a fool, and then put it on national television. So, but it was cold in there, flat out. It was freaking cold.
Okay. All right. Austin Hockey says, big picture, the Oilers today have the best defensive core in McDavid's career. They have the best forward group. Boys just got to put it together and get some saves. I like our chances, and I'm excited for the playoffs.
Optimistic view there. Hey, Struds? Hey?
Best defensive core. So last year, Vinny, Broberg, and CC. And this year it's Wallman, Emberson, right? And then I guess Stetcher. I don't know. I let me see how Wallman can move the puck, and more importantly, how he defends before I can pounce on that one.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Let's get a look at this guy. They really like him. Like I've been saying, they really, really like him. Matt Blom says, if Ripple Chips were in a Settlers of Catan expansion, Shoggy would have a different tune. I would not. Would not. You're still playing Settlers of Catan, just a different flavor.
Thanks, Blommer.
Of Settlers of Catan. Yeah.
Okay. More big picture from fans. So Brad says Wallman can play as our fifth D, but he's been the Sharks' first D all year with good analytics on a bad team. I'm super excited for Frederick. He's big, he's physical, can score. Jones is just gravy. So Brad, happy with the acquisitions.
Yeah, listen, not a lot of people watch the Sharks. We don't watch the Sharks. We watch because Celebrini and some of the others, but no one's really watching their D. And you look at it like he's almost even for his goals for and against. That's pretty good on a team that's really struggled. Got a good hard shot, but what I like and the info I've had and seen is he's a really good first pass guy. And I believe that's what they need. They need more guys to get that puck out of their zone quickly to their forwards.
Brian says, Strudy's got a point. ChatGPT has never tried any chips, and therefore that strike gets stricken, he asks. Yes. It is a fair point, ChatGPT. But what ChatGPT does, Struds, is it aggregates all the information from people who have tasted chips and commented online. It has the brain power to aggregate all comments in the universe ever about chips, Ripple and regular, and aggregate them into one answer that it spits out for us. It's super designed to do that, thanks to Elon. And that was what gave us that answer. Damn, I shouldn't have just said Elon. I think I just lost.
Yeah.
Well,
you never know who's on the chat. Okay.
Damn it.
Nick Biskopek says, if nothing else, all this depth should have the team competing hard for their spots every night. Thoughts on that?
I think that also insulates from injury, but yeah, I think it does. But I'd be interested because do they build the third line and figure out what's left for the second line, or do they work on the second line to figure out what's left for the third line? Because the fourth line is fairly clear what you're going to look at. And I think maybe one thing we missed out, does Perry get the odd shift up there with Leon as well? Maybe on the playoffs is often, but he has, and he gets jumped up there quite often.
He got looks up there in the playoffs too. So yeah, the guy's scoring goals at a pretty impressive rate for his age and his opportunity. So definitely, they need more from some guys. And if they start to get more from those guys, like they're more than happy to throw Connor Brown up there if he shows a pulse offensively. They've done it already this year. Man, the Skinner thing though, like think about what it took for Connor Brown to land on the second line offensively. How fast he got up there when his pulse flickered offensively. And yet Skinner they just don't want to put him there. Robin Mungle Fitness says, same flavor, different texture. Only someone with a sophisticated palate would understand, Struds. Thank you, Robin.
All right. My captain simply says, oil aren't soft anymore. And that's the big picture comment from him.
So I'll disagree. Yeah. I disagree with that. One person can't change the whole tone, right? If you have a singing choir and everyone's terrible and you drop Mariah Carey in there, it's not a good choir. Everyone has to sing well. So I think everyone has to be physical. Yes, you may have a bit more louder lead voice, but I completely disagree with that. One person can't change the entire thing. It's an attitude by the team.
Well, when the playoffs start, it could end up being Frederick, Jones, and Kane skating around in the lineup, which is a significant upgrade for them. But I do agree with you, Struds. And if you were running a choir, let's say you had a huge concert in, say, April. And let's say you started practicing in October. Would you be okay as the singing instructor just saying, don't worry about being on key. When it comes time in, say, mid-March, I'll ask you to start being on key those practices. Don't worry about it from now till then.
Did they show they could sing the year prior in the competition very well? Oh, they showed they were on key from April to June last year. So we know they can do it. They'll find the key again, my friend. But one guy doesn't make a difference. Trust me, I was that one guy sometimes. It was brutal. You're like, oh, you got to fight everybody. I'd like to have a friend. Nah, you're good. You're fine. Just do it yourself.
I'd like to have a friend.
No, you're fine. Wow, I didn't sleep for about 3 years there after Donald Brashear was traded to Vancouver. 2 years, I guess.
Oh, God.
By the way, I had a faux pas today. So that whole mess where I had the blanket around my shoulders when I was on on TSN's deadline show today, we ended up talking about, the Oilers and improvements that they made. And I made the comment that they're way too soft, and then realized, oh my God, I'm standing here with a blankie around my shoulders calling other athletes soft. And it was not a good look. What's that?
What athlete? Are you a golfer? What?
No, I wasn't calling myself an athlete. I was
Well, you
saying
said other athletes. So that implies that you're an athlete. So what sport are we talking about here?
Well, I don't think I meant I was. I mean,
there it is.
Maybe not an athlete.
Stymied him, just like the chip conversation. And this chip conversation is wrong.
Don't let it
didn't
affect
wrap
your
up
chip
the poll.
vote. Don't let it.
Okay,
well, let's wrap it. You want to wrap it? We'll wrap it right now if you want, bud.
No,
let's wrap it right now.
Of course you want it, because you're ahead now. When we normally wrap,
I can't even see. Where is it? I can't even see where the results are.
This whole thing, it doesn't. Zuby and I will agree. This is outrageous. So we let the poll go this long.
Zuby and you will agree.
All right, get your last minute votes in. We're doing 2 more comments and then we're wrapping it. Okay, I'm calling it at that, Struds. Is that satisfactory?
Would you like me to bring in some chip related comments right now?
Yeah, do those and then we will wrap it. We will wrap it.
Okay, so Strudy, just so you know, these are all the chip comments. I'm being completely unbiased. So yeah, Jerry Mancini says a light wavy chip and a regular light chip are both the same flavor, different texture.
So that's the guy that works for a chip company, right? Okay, good. We've heard him already.
Here he is. Listen,
same guy again.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Steve, you're not helping us here. Same guy twice.
Okay, fine. I thought it was an interesting comment because he's
by the same guy who works for the chip company. His middle name is Old Dutch.
Quaddy says different experiences, different taste, different flavor. That's one for you, Strudy. Okay,
there's one.
Yeah. Here's Johnny says the plain Ripple chips taste better than the plain chips. The Ripple make it taste better.
There it is.
Davin says. Davin says, can Strudy even taste considering all the darts he's smoked over the years? I've known you for a while. I don't think that's accurate.
I haven't been darting for a while. Well, let's get Jerry.
At a minute 30, we're killing it.
Is there anything else?
At a minute 30.
Anything else?
Zuby, your friend Zuby, who relies on you for your weekly show.
Zuby.
And I voted for your side, he says.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Dr. Carpi says same flavor, different texture. And Gomez
says Schauger would play pickleball on a simulator. Thanks, Gomez. Probably I would if it were available. I would.
Boba Fett says, Strudy, you were the Ripple chip of team depth, salty but vital flavoring to good cultures.
Okay,
that's very kind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
nice. Anything more from Gerald Mancini?
No, but Mick Fosidle says Old Dutch Plain and Old Dutch Ripple do taste different. Go out and buy some yourself and try it yourself.
Get your last votes in, folks. You got 40 seconds. 40 seconds here to vote.
This has been it's been unreal.
Huh?
I think there's been some fake votes in here.
You're wasting time complaining about the
credibility.
Results of the election instead of you've got Struds, quick, make a pitch. 10 seconds, go. Last pitch. Last votes.
I'm removing myself from this, and there'll be a complete review of the entire.
You sound like Trump right now. Like the whole thing is like
right.
Yeah, like Russian
#fake
bot
news.
Here we go.
I bet you Jerry Mancini has big Blaze people involved in this whole thing somehow.
Boy.
4, 3, 2, 1. Cut it, Steve-O. Cut it.
All right. Well, so the people have indeed spoken. Hundreds of people, dozens even, come in, and they are different flavors, has 45% of the vote. And I don't know how your math is, but that means more than half of the people agreeing that they are the same flavor. I will say, that's a very, very close vote. So clearly people are siding with both of you.
I'm stunned at 45% of you. Gobsmacked at 45% of you.
Well, Fraser Harland on the chat said he's convinced the different flavors people just like the pissing of Rishaug, which I think it might be pretty accurate.
It's disappointing.
You've lost
result.
Jerry Mancini. You've lost Jerry Mancini. Struddy, this is how you treat me. I defend you on Twitter when people have dumb comments. You've lost a defender on Twitter. Jerry is not happy with you right now.
Listen, Gerald, I'm apologizing to you, but this whole vote thing went sideways, and the structural integrity of it was just a disgrace. So I'm just going to back away, and I do not accept the poll's results, nor will I agree with them.
Struds, do you have any idea how destructive it is when you will not accept the results of something that is as important as this?
Yeah,
if we cannot depend on YouTube poll results,
it's outrageous.
How do we function as a society, Struds? You don't know the damage you're doing. You have to engage in the competition, and if you lose, you need to shake hands, and you need to let the rest of us walk away feeling as though power has been restored to its rightful place and everything is going to be okay. You don't know the damage you're doing. You need to admit you lost, please.
For 1,000 years, we've been doing the poll results prior to Ask Us Anything, and suddenly it changed. That was not expected. We should have had that detail ironed out. So I'm disappointed in the whole process.
Yeah, well.
We got Laura White here. Laura, love that you're on the stream. Have you ever heard Laura White say anything before, Steve?
No.
So I've never heard Laura say anything. So for the first time, she's been sitting, listening for how long? She finally got so frustrated, and she says, Ryan cannot give anyone the last word. He just cannot. Calling it is the last word. So Laura, she was like, where's my keyboard? Where's my, okay, Struds, I'm going to give you the last word on this whole chip thing today, and then I'm letting it go. I'm going to prove to Laura I can do this. Go.
I think the process spoke for itself and its mishandling, and I'm not going to say anything about it because the process was ruined, and we ruined this poll. I'm apologizing to all our listeners. I'm sorry you had to be a part of that and witness it.
Neat. Okay, time now for our play of the day, brought to you by Gallery Dental. Take the first step towards a stress-free dental experience, providing modern dentistry for today's patient with the most up-to-date dentistry, sedation, implants, and so much more. Contact gallerydental.yeg.com. Would me winning the poll be technically not giving you the last word if I were to do that?
You could listen. Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, I guess a win's a win for some people.
No, you go ahead. You can pick play of the day. I don't need the last word. Go ahead.
The Avalanche and their reorganize of their semi position was incredible. 4 center, 3 are new in the last, month or so. Really well done by the Avs. And I look forward to see if they can fit that together. Because on paper, it looked great. You got to make it happen in reality.
All right, there it is. Your play of the day brought to you by Gallery Dental. Well, I'm feeling good. I know the rest of my night's going to be awesome. Steve, I hope your night is fantastic too. And Struds, I wish you well tonight, my friend. I wish you well.
Democracy was rocked today, everybody. I don't know if I'll be able to sleep.
I'm going to go down, sit down, maybe put on a movie and have a nice bag of chips. Doesn't matter if it's Ripple or if it's plain because it's the same thing.
It's all the same.
I'm just going to enjoy it. Yeah.
No credibility.
Thanks, everybody, for putting up with us, children. We appreciate it. Oilers and the Dallas Stars tomorrow. New D-Man is going to be in town, and we'll be here to break it all down for you. Thanks for having some fun with us tonight, and thanks to Play Alberta. See you soon. Han, I won! I won the thing.